Good morning. Welcome back to another podcast, Healing Conversations with your one and only Addie Speaks. This is a safe space where healing is okay. Now, here we share our wounds, our trauma, and our healing journey. And on this podcast, you'll learn effective tools from a variety of people on the different self-care approaches one can take to assure a successful healing journey. So let your guard down and heal with me. Let's go. All right, welcome back to another podcast. Today we have our special guest, and before I bring him on, I just want to give you guys a brief update to why I've been absent. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in a car accident that caused me to focus more on physical therapy than to do, what I love doing, videos and stuff and encouragement. So I'm going to hop back on that, but I had to take a step back and focus on my healing. And, but your girl is okay. So yeah, we're just going to keep it going. So again, today we have a special guest, DrAntoine D. Thurston. Antoine, I've known him for years. He's an author, a motivational speaker, a minister, a life coach, and a Christian counselor. I invited him on because he has a very powerful story that years ago impacted me even till this day. And I am so honored to have him on to grace this platform and to share with you guys his healing journey and different healing components he used to his betterment to help him in his healing journey. So let's welcome Antoine Thurston.
Hey there. Hey.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm blessed. I'm wonderful. I'm privileged.
Yes. Listen, I am so excited to have you on today, and I just cannot wait for you to share your story. I just want to introduce the title. Today's title segment is called Self-Care After Trauma. Right? Self-care is, the ability to care for yourself, and trauma. Not many people are aware of what trauma is, but trauma are different traumatic experiences. So the first question I have for you, Antoine, is how important do you believe self-care is after trauma? I'm sorry, that's the full question. How important do you believe self-care is after trauma?
Yeah, so I always put it in this way. If I broke my leg, I'm going to the hospital. If I break my arm, I'm going to the hospital. Right. So if we do that in the natural, we have to do that mentally and emotionally and spiritually.
Exactly. That's why I was going to say, this is why I strongly believe in the mind, body, spirit balance. You can't just focus on the mind and neglect the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a lot of people that do. They focus on one thing, but then the other part is neglected, but it remains broken.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So how important was it to you in your journey?
To me, there were several pivotal moments that brought me to awareness. Honestly, I never even heard the word trauma growing up.
Right.
Even when I wrote my first book, I wasn't even aware that I still had trauma in me. And I had been preaching, for years as a minister. The person that wrote the foreword for my book is my actual counselor. And she brought me to awareness after I realized that, my mindset wasn't productive. I was still thinking God didn't love me in certain areas. I was still anxious, having anxiety attacks here and there. Still angry about some parts of my life. And when I spoke to her about it, she brought me clarity that, Antoine, this is a sign of trauma that you haven't dealt with since a kid. Mm-hmm. So self-care, it's about self, and then you can't care about something you don't have awareness of.
Right.
And so self-care really to me is so important because it brought me into awareness or a sense of consciousness of what was really going on deeper within me.
Right. And, earlier you said something very important, but before we touch on that, I want you to just share with everyone your story. What was the moment that pushed you to take healing, not only as an option, but as a healing journey?
What pushed me was I was stuck. I was stuck in my mind, stuck in my emotions, and things weren't working for me in my life, and I didn't know why.
Mm.
I didn't know why I was still frustrated. I didn't know why I was still angry or upset or anxious. And so I called my friend. We were friends at the moment, but I knew she was a therapist and Christian counselor. And I told her my predicament, and she took me on a journey. She brought me into awareness of what trauma was, generational trauma, anxiety, personality development, personality types, and all those type of things. And that brought me on that journey I needed. Because even after I wrote my book, even after I got saved and gave my life to Christ, I thought that was it, the end all be all.
Mm.
And it wasn't.
Exactly. Some people, I'm sorry to cut you off, but some people just leave it at the altar and not work on it. It's not only an altar, assignment. It's also a self-assignment.
Yes, most definitely. When you get Jesus at the altar, you need him in your heart. You need him at the house. You need him in the bathroom. You need him at the grocery store.
Yes.
You need him everywhere you go. And you need him as a therapist as well.
Exactly.
And that's what I needed.
Wow. And so then, even now, I want you to go a little deeper. Like, I don't even want to ask the next question. I want you to share, like, one moment that gave you that, oh, you know what? I need to take it up a notch, because you said that, you needed Jesus as your counselor as well. But there was something that you left out. See, listen, I know he left something out, y'all. There was something that you left out, and I would love for you to share it with the audience on that moment where, it was a snap for you. But in that snap, you was able to find that, hey, I need to take it serious.
Yeah. After the publishing of my first book, honestly, my business went under. My business went under. The pandemic came. My business went under. Everybody in my team, my business just went under. And I had a lot of bitterness in my heart towards some of my old business partners. Even the people that made promises, they didn't keep it. And letting go of my business was one of the hardest things because I put so much into it. I felt obligated to stay in my business and to keep the business going because I had been so faithful to it and I had put so much into it. Not just money, but time, energy, effort. And so leaving it was a trauma as well. And so when I also revealed that to my friend that wrote the foreword for my book, she said, Antoine, that was one of the best things you could have did. But leaving something also creates trauma. So in that of itself, it revealed a lot that I had in me, of how painful it is to even pursue success, life, things, relationships, and to fail at it, and to give your all and to give your best. But even sometimes when you give your best, it seems like my best wasn't enough, or my giving my all just wasn't enough. And then you look at, and then when I wrote my book, crazy part about it, I made more money in my book in probably like a month than I did with my business. And I was getting traction, so much traction. And it was easy money with my book.
Well, you see listen, you look at it one way, but it's like God is like, I have a plan for you. I have an expected end for you. So I'm very happy to hear that you're doing good. That's really good. That's really good. So like even now to this day, the fact that that you've experienced trauma and the fact that it's clear that any situation can be a traumatic experience for you if you're not really ready to, let go or if it happened unexpectedly. So I wanted to ask you, even now today, do you still apply self-care in your daily routine?
Oh, most definitely. I always say, I even wrote in my book, freedom requires maintenance. Just like you get a car, just like every day we have to brush our teeth, we have to wash our face. Just because I washed my face and brushed my teeth yesterday, don't mean I don't have to do it today.
Exactly.
So everything in life requires maintenance, and surveillance, and maintenance. So there's nowhere in my life where I'm going to get to the point where I think I've arrived. There's always something I can work on.
So then, like, could you name 3 things that for sure are on your top 5 of self-care routine?
Definitely God, prayer, meditation, my faith. church, fellowships with friends, family members. Um, Exercise is at the top as well. I have to go to the gym, and I have to get me like at least a 30-minute walk in every day, 30 to an
Yes.
hour. I feel like I can't function if I don't get a walk in.
Yes.
It just allows me to get away. I walk to
Yeah.
the beach and walk from the gym and all that type of stuff. I kind of feel like out of balance if I don't do it because it gives me that moment, that time to just be to myself. The gym is like my time, my me time. And then the walking is my
Yeah.
me time and it allows me to relax. Um, and then sometimes what also is a blessing to me is relaxation and
Mhm.
quiet time at home or on the couch. Sometimes I watch TV, sometimes I won't. And I just shut down in a positive way, just clear my thoughts. It's something, there's power in silence. There's
Mhm.
power in silence. Sometimes I just like to relax my mind because I do a lot in school and so forth. So relaxing my mind at the end of the day or throughout the day, bits and pieces of throughout my day, and just re-energize myself. You know.
That's good. So we all understand that self-care is very vital after a traumatic experience. And I
Hmm.
just want to bring back up the two very most best-selling books that you have on Amazon at this current time. Bondage, My Bondage and My Freedom book, and My Bondage and My Freedom from the Mental Institution to the Pulpit workbook. Come on now, can we talk about that?
Even yes, definitely. The first book is my memoir. It details bits and pieces of my life. It details my youthfulness when I was young in middle school, high school, and college, and came back. I had a low self-esteem. I hated myself. I even wrote a letter to God, wanting God to kill me because I thought I was ugly. Um, got addicted to porn later on in high school. Even got exposed to witchcraft after college. But through it all, God never left me. God never forsook me. And He blessed me and He restored me and He healed me and delivered me and saved me. The second book, the volume two, that was released last August, 2022. And that's the workbook. That's the continued journey. After I initially, gave my rededicated my life to Christ, got delivered, but there was still a lot of things in the closet that wasn't dealt with. And so the workbook is a lot more practical. It's about 250 pages. Um,
250
and it,
pages?
yeah, the workbook's about 250 pages. The first book is about 100 pages.
Right,
Second book is it goes through, it's like they go together. You do
right.
one, can't really do one without the other. I still detail parts of my life and my struggle in the second book, even my struggle with porn in the second book, and why I had struggled with porn still because of the lack of security from my father, uh, lack of identity, rushing, impatience. So I still deal with traumas from a healed place to some degree. Um, and so I would say deeper healing. I call it that, deeper healing. The second book is deeper. It goes deeper into the recesses of my own brokenness, and I empower people with the tools that I've used to empower them as God has empowered me.
That's really good. So, you guys, I'm going to leave the link down in my description box. If you follow me on YouTube, if you don't follow me on YouTube, please do. It will be in my description box below, and that's where you can get it. It's on Amazon. It's available, and let's support the journey. And if you know anyone that's struggling with porn or any addiction or anything, mental health issues, or who you know have trauma experiences, but not really taking the initiative to heal, definitely get the book and the workbook, because after faith, you still have to work. Come on. People don't want to
Yes.
do the work.
Yeah.
After faith, you still have to work, and that's how you get to the abundance that God has for you in your mind, your body, and spirit. So, thank you so much, Antoine, for coming onto the podcast, and I hope to have you again soon with other books, of course, and other testimonies in your healing journey. Because I don't believe that anybody is healed. Every journey requires a level of healing and acceptance,
Hmm. Yeah.
and you need to just recognize that, acknowledge that, and that's how you just get closer and closer to the things and the freedom that God has for you. So,
Yes.
Definitely get his book. It's available on Amazon. And thank you so much for coming on. And yes. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening to Healing Conversations with Addie Speaks. I'll see you guys on the next episode.